Hi there, Brendan from Quick Attack Gaming here, and I'm so glad to be doing another collab with the legendary Happily Ever After Gaming. To start off this video, I'd like to ask for some leeway since this is totally my first time doing a video on the lore of anything. But I thought this was an interesting topic to hopefully get some people talking. As we all know, Caleb is a huge fan of the Souls series, as am I. So I thought, what better topic to talk about here today? I'm going to be talking about my personal interpretation of the Bloodborne DLC, The Old Hunters. In particular, the relationship between Gehrman and the Orphan of Kos. Some call her Cosm. When I first looked into these two characters, the general consensus seemed to be that Gehrman was one of the original hunters to enter the fishing hamlet, and likely had a large hand in the fate of the hamlet and perhaps the orphan itself. While this is a solid theory that does hold some weight with great arguments, I'd like to pose an alternate answer. First off, if you haven't for some reason played Bloodborne yet, what are you doing? Go play Bloodborne. Spoilers will be in this video, so that's your warning. After playing through The Old Hunters, the conclusion that I came to was perhaps Gehrman is the orphan himself. I know this seems like a leap, so allow me to sort of explain why I think this. First of all, the orphan visually shares some traits with Gehrman. He even shares some slightly altered audio clips. That's the most commonly known one. His weapon, the burial blade, also bears a resemblance to the weapon the orphan uses. Weapon, so to speak, I guess. This could just be playing into the popular theory that Gehrman's nightmare is living through the pain and agony that he himself caused the orphan. However, there are a few bits that I think could suggest my theory to be true. The first of which is Maria, and the doll. Gehrman clearly held a great respect or appreciation for Maria, for him to immortalize her in a doll like that. Maria, being the watcher of the hamlet, who's forced to suffer due to her failure to protect it. Yet if Maria was the protector, why would Gehrman be so infatuated with her? If Gehrman was there to perform whatever experiments took place on the hamlet, why would he appreciate her so much? Perhaps it's simply because she's the coolest that ever. Period. Or maybe he was paying homage to the woman who gave everything trying to defend himself, his mother, and the entirety of the hamlet. My next clue was the moon presence. The Great One seeking a surrogate through the nightmare. Supposedly empathetic in nature. If you're this Great One seeking a surrogate child, where better than the orphan of another Great One, Gehrman? Throughout the game, Gehrman leads you eventually to Mergo's wet nurse, who is essentially, to my knowledge, a rival of the moon presence. Once you've completed the task of killing the wet nurse, Gehrman decides to set you free, so to speak. But why is that? Clearly in defeating the Moon Presence's rival, maybe the Moon Presence would take notice of you. If you refuse Gehrman, he will become immediately hostile and insist that you return to the waking world, by force if need be. It made me want to ask why he became so defensive if it's our choice not to return. Some argue that killing him would put him inside of his own nightmare eternally. Which is why after slaying the Orphan of Kos, the doll will give us the dialogue saying that Gehrman is resting peacefully. That being said, the DLC is accessible before the end of the game, and regardless of whether or not you've slayed the Orphan at that point, Gehrman still becomes hostile. Perhaps the Eternal Nightmare wasn't the only reason he wanted you gone. Maybe Gehrman was afraid of losing another mother, the Moon Presence. If my theory is true, I would certainly think that the Orphan knows how painful it is to lose a mother, and likely wouldn't be in a huge rush to lose another one. Finally, the last piece of evidence in my eyes is the end dialogue of The Old Hunters.
Sweet child of Kos, returned to the ocean. A bottomless curse, a bottomless sea, accepting of all that there is and can be.
The part about the orphan finally returning to the sea. Throughout the game, bodies of water are mentioned often. It made me think that maybe these great bodies of water are meant to symbolize the dream itself. Is it possible the end dialogue could translate to Gehrman has finally returned to his dreams? I'm not sure. In closing, I'd like to say that if this theory has already been disproven, I'll happily admit any errors I've made here. That being said, I'd also love to hear it. I'm always a fan of these types of discussions, and I thank you all for watching this video. I encourage you to subscribe for more amazing content from Happily Ever After Gaming. It's an awesome channel run by great people. If you enjoyed hearing the sound of my voice or my theories in general, check out my personal channel, Quick Attack Gaming. We're currently doing a Pokemon Soul Silver Nuzlocke run, and it's a ton of fun. Alternatively, you could check out the playthrough of Dark Souls 2 we've been working on for way too long. Thanks again guys, and remember to drop a like on this video. Caleb and Misa certainly deserve it.